has having an EOS been a game changer?
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
Like, if you're being honest about it, it's totally a different world as far as running a business.
It keeps you very organized.
Yeah.
And it focuses you on whatever issues there are. It keeps you accountable for your time and how you are going to succeed in whatever your goal is. And so in my firm, I've always had core values.
Yep.
Okay. And that's something that I created way before any of this, because I knew when I left the firm that I was at and when I opened up my own firm, I was opening it up because I wanted to implement the values for client success, right? I'm very customer service driven.
Sure.
So with having those core values and then being presented to the to the gentleman with the EOS, he was able to really help us disseminate the core values and flush out people who were part of the firm whose core values didn't align with us.
And did you have to make some tough decisions as far as letting those people go?
Yeah.
If they weren't aligned.
And they themselves knew that they weren't aligned.
Yeah.
So they themselves actually left too.
Wow.
It was a combination of both, because you have to get, as they teach you, you have to get the right person in the right seat. And that's something that they really help you refine. Mm-hmm. And there are so many tools and exercises. There's an exercise, for example, called delegate and elevate.
Yep.
There's an exercise of going over what your biggest wins are. There's an exercise. There's so many different exercises to help you focus on what it is that you're looking for and what is in the best interest of the firm based on your core values and how you're going to get to where you want to go. And that has been really, really nice to have somebody and have a process there to help you get there.
Let me ask you, because I'm familiar on like an ancillary, like on the outside of it. My understanding is like that with EOS you use something called an implementer. Is the person you're talking about, like this director, is that the implementer, or do you hire someone internally to implement all of these systems that you're talking about?
Okay, it is an integrator.
Integrator, that's it. Okay,
that's okay. You had it. You were on the right track.
There's another firm, because I don't know whether they use a different name, but I know, because I've done a number of like mastermind groups, and I remember there was this other lawyer, and he had this drawl because he was from, like, I don't think he was from Texas, but he goes, we needed to hire an implementor to get this, but I get it, integrator, implementor. Okay.
So I guess for me, I was fortunate that I already have an integrator. Okay. Within the EOS process, I am the visionary and she is the integrator. So she holds everybody accountable. She holds all the seats accountable, and she makes sure that processes are being completed, that everything is aligned with the vision of the firm, that all the core values are being met, and they report to her. So she is the integrator, and her background is of a COO background.
Got it. And I think we talked about this a little bit before, but tell me, so with your firm, what was like one of the biggest things that really helped with growth and kind of helping you focus on the stuff that you want to do in the firm? Because there's so many lawyers out there. I'm not one of them, fortunately, but there's so many lawyers out there that are they're exhausted. They're just they're working God knows how many hours through the weekend. They're spinning their wheels. And for some reason, they're not willing to open up and grow and find like that solution to changing the way they run a business. But what was it for you, I guess, to help you focus what you want to do and then help integrate with everybody else?
For me, it was defining what it is that I wanted to do. I had to first come to terms with, what hat do I want to wear? What is my role going to be in the firm? Where do I sit at this table? I may be the owner of it, but what does that actually entail? Do I want to just be the business owner? Do I want to have so many attorneys doing everything and then me let go of everything? Do I want to be the business owner? What is it that I want to do? And I came to the decision in, I would say, really, as the best thing that taking that 6-month course of how to manage a small law firm taught me was that I did not want to run the business. That is not what I want to do. I did not go to law school to deal with business operational issues. I didn't. I find no enjoyment of going through tax returns, making sure people did not spend more overtime, speaking to a CFO. I have no desire to do any of that, and I don't do any of that. So with that being said, I did not know who I was looking for, but I was looking for someone to help me relieve that. And with How to Manage a Small Law Firm, which maybe a lot of your viewers know and you know as well, they do have a program or a service where they have like CEOs, COOs,
Fractional.
CFOs, yes, that they come and they tell you this and that. To be part of that, you still have to do all the work.
Yeah.
Like, I respect what the people are doing, but I'm still in it. Mm-hmm. And I did not want to be in it. So in my mind, the only way I can stop being in it is that if I bring somebody full time to do it. So as an attorney, a lot of times too, maybe part of our culture is that we have a culture of a lot of materialism and spending a lot and showing that we are an attorney. Mm-hmm. I decided to basically save all of my money and reinvest it back into the firm. And if that meant hiring people who may not seem that at the beginning you would spend that much money on them, but in long term, you get that reward of stability and growth, that was something that I was willing to risk. And that's what I did. I found a person who was incredibly qualified. She's incredibly capable and qualified. And she has been committed to the journey of growing the firm in a proper way that we are still able to devote ourselves to our clients and have employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and steady growth. Because we're not looking to be the biggest law firm in the country. That's not our goal at all. Our goal is customer satisfaction. If that means we've had to hire employees in order to implement that and create new positions, which we have a duty paralegal in our firm. Nobody's ever even heard of a duty paralegal. Yeah. We have a pre-consult associate. Nobody knows what that is. We've had to create positions in our firm in order to provide customer service and client service to the customer, because there is a need there.
What is the title of the person that you're talking about, as far as that's taking on that operational business side of things? What is the title? What do you call that person?
Well, she's Director of Operations.
Director of Operations.
Yeah.
All right. And what would you define her role, as far as, like, if you were to say, like, this is what she works on as opposed to what you would work on? Because you're working on the legal work, it sounds
yes.
like. That's what your passion is: customer service, exceptional service, focus on the law, help these clients, guide them. You do a ton of social media, which we'll talk about in a minute.
Right.
This operational person, this Director of Operations, because people watching this, lawyers who are drowning, and maybe they want to focus more on law, maybe they want to focus more on business, but what does that role look like?
She makes sure everything goes the way it's supposed to go. This is what she does. Mm. She makes sure that accounting is held accountable. She makes sure that even the legal team, the leads, are accountable. She makes sure that the phone representatives are held accountable. She makes sure that the processes are done. When a client hires, where do they go? How to make things more efficient. She makes sure that our invoicing is automated. She makes sure that every idea that needs to be implemented, she integrates it. She does all of the back end work, and she gets it going.
Does she have a weekly meeting with the entire team, or is it a monthly meeting? What
we
does that
all
look like?
have a weekly meeting.
Okay.
We've had weekly meetings since even before I hired her. Before she came on board, for years, we've always had a team weekly meeting every Thursday at 10 a.m. The entire firm gets on screen. We see all 50 of us there. Mm-hmm. We all go through our core values. We go through our biggest wins. We don't talk about necessarily issues, and we give updates in the office. That's it. Like hour and a half, but it's a positive meeting.
Yeah. It's
and it gets us connected. So everybody has to say what their biggest wins are for that week.
I like that.
That's what we do. Biggest wins.
It's actually kind of funny, because like I said, we just had our Friday meeting today. The very first thing we do is we go through our core values. Sometimes you learn and you hear these things, and obviously you picked it up from a number of the different, things from the books or from the seminars, whatever it is that you're doing. But it really is so important, is running through the core values. We do a core value, one core value and one principle every week. We kind of go through, we keep them short. I think there's only 4 core values and like 4 principles. There's not a lot. And then we do talk about team reports, settlements, newsworthy events, things like that. But I love that you say it's a positive meeting. This isn't a meeting where it's negative. Obviously there are, we go through, we have that roundtable section. We also talk about, marketing update, financial update, but it is a quick meeting. It's an hour and a half,
Yes. I mean, the legal assistants don't necessarily need to be in the marketing side.
Sure.
You understand? So when it comes to the entire team meeting, it's about the entire team.
Yeah.
You individually, so that we can have that, bond for 1 hour or an hour and a half or whatnot. But when we're talking about specific departmental meetings, then they have their own meetings that they deal with. And then after our team meeting, for an hour and a half, we have something called a level 10 meeting. And in the level 10, we have our CFO, we have our director of operations, we have our human resource generalist, we have the 3 lead attorneys, we have myself as the visionary, we have the client relations director, we have the pre-consult and leads manager, and we have the records manager.
That's called level 10?
That's called level 10.
And is that like the more managerial
This is our
team?
managerial
This
team.
is your management team.
Yes. And we discuss we go through where we're at with our rocks. We hold each other accountable. Oh, you said you were going to do this last week. Did you do it? No. Why not? Okay, you need to provide an explanation. Oh, yes, I did get it done. Excellent. Check mark. You're one step closer to meeting your 90-day goal. And once we're done with holding each other accountable, we move on to what's called an IDS, where we do an issue, discussion, solve, where we pick issues that have accumulated through the week, that we keep tabs of them, and now we focus on it. So maybe we have an IDS on, for example, we need to put parameters on the legal agreement because when to terminate a client, for example.
Yeah.
So we'll have an IDS. Okay, this is what we're going to do. These are the next steps. How are we going to terminate a client when they fail to make payment or they fail to cooperate with us? Okay, client relations director puts it together. Her to-do now is she's going to be amending the legal agreement. She's going to, run it through our legal, make sure everything is good with it, and then we're going to present it to the team again. So everybody's held accountable. You don't just talk and not do anything. That's the problem. People just talk and then they're not held accountable of what they need to do.
Is the director of operations like very heavily involved in that?
Everything. We're all involved in it because you wrote it down, and every week we read it, and we call you out on it. Did you meet to get the legal agreement changed? Yes or no? Yes, I did. Okay, what's the next step? No, I didn't. Why not?
This is the EOS strategy and method that you've been taught. You've been given the forms, been given because I guess there must be like these 90-day. I use Atticus. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard Atticus. The Atticus Advantage. It's another law firm growth company that they have coaching, and then they have these bigger kind of seminars, but similar but different. But they encourage all of these different facets that we're talking about.
Right.
I feel like EOS may be a little bit more intricate, and is EOS all that the EOS that you belong to? Is it all law firms, or is it different types of businesses?
I think he only has 2.
So the other people, they're just other businesses.
Yeah, his background is restaurants.
Yeah, see, that's so great because they're teaching like lawyers. I think are notoriously not good business people, or like running. I think that's like everyone's very, very focused. You're not taught business in law school. It's not something. It's something you said you don't even like, right? But you recognize that if you're going to grow, and you're going to grow a business, and you're going to thrive, and you want it to be, you do amazing things for your clients and for your customers. You need to have that background, and there's so many other businesses that have it.
Yeah.
That do things that just lawyers just don't even think of.
Yes.
And that's why it's really, really important. I love everything that you're doing. I mean,
Thanks.
Really, it's on another level. It's on another level. Like one of the things that I'm my next step, because I'm a new business owner. I opened up in 2020. You know, I left my prior law firm after 11 years, and I was just the litigator. I was like I was just on the front lines, the Navy SEAL in the courtroom. I had one focus. My focus was getting a verdict.
Right.
You know, and then when I left there, I had to learn to become a business owner and a marketer and an administrator and a manager, and then realize that I can't be all of those things. I can't be the litigator, the manager, the marketer, this. I had to find the things that I love, that I'm passionate about, and then delegate that stuff out. But the chief operating officer is something that is the next level for me.
Right.
And finding that person.
And you have to be comfortable with letting go, because you may obviously, which is understandable, this is your business and your life and your passion about it, to let go of making decisions is finding somebody that you can trust and being comfortable with your decision of trusting that person to not interfere with their performance. Like, otherwise you're going to be having problems with the person that you just hired to help you.
Sure.
So you need to also come to an understanding of what it is that you want. That's what it goes back to when you ask me that. It goes back to me knowing that I was going to put myself in a position where I was going to be okay with the decision of hiring somebody and letting go of important decisions and respecting that person's role and their background and their experience, and trusting that they have the firm's best interest in mind and not getting involved where I don't need to be involved.
As far as your like personal life and stress levels, how has that, bringing in someone, the integrator, the COO, and having that in place, how has that affected your, like, that area, that aspect? Are you more stressed? Are you less stressed? Where are you?
Well, right now I have stress because there are a lot of changes going on in the legal arena. Okay.
Yeah.
So my stress has to do with the legal. One day there's a policy here, and then the policy just got removed, and then this person just got picked up, and then that person. So that juggling back and forth, a new situation just came out. So on the legal arena, there is uncontrollable stress because nobody has control over what's going on.
Sure.
Okay. From a business side, I do not have stress when it comes to that, because I'm confident that I have somebody and an entire team, not just a COO, because the way that we have our structure, it's not just her. We have managers that are constantly keeping an eye and making sure everything is getting performed the way that it's supposed to be performed. And I have trust in my entire team. They are what we would call my first team. So I have to trust them just like I trust her.
Yeah.
That everything is being done the way that it's supposed to be done.
That's unbelievable.
So for me, I don't have business ownership stress like that. I have legal stress because things are...
There's it's funny because we have so much, I guess there's a lot of parallels with what me and you, it's interesting, even though we're totally different types of law. I do personal injury, you do immigration. But there's just been a whole slew of changes with the Florida rules of civil procedure. Much more strict rules as far as deadlines being met, case management orders, disclosures, us signing off on stuff, saying that we're not, there's a whole bunch of stuff, a litany of stuff that just went into effect January 1, and we've been having multiple meetings to have that implemented and make sure that everything's being followed.
Right.
Fortunately, again, I was lucky that I had a lot of good habits leaving my other firm, where we have those systems in place. We have the case management software that are giving us the notifications. The team has always known about setting cases for trial and having those deadlines met, which is important. So I would say that increased the stress level to some extent, but I love that aspect that you are in a position where your stress is legal related, and that's to be honest, at the end of the day, that's what you like, that's what you want to do, and so that's where your stress is going to be there. Right. I mean, if you were the business owner that made the decision that I don't want to be the legal technician so much, I want to be more further over to the visionary and more over to the operational side, it would be someone else that would be stressed out. Right?
Yes.
But I mean, if it's the area that you choose, then
right.
It's something that you're kind of going in head first, but you're also able to implement the systems to reduce that stress. But